Deep Blue Sea. He's
Also the Punisher, right?
yeah, he was the Punisher in the John Travolta movie.
Yeah, which I love that one.
But yeah, Deep Blue Sea, probably one of the best shark movies, not named Jaws. And there's not a lot of good shark movies, but Deep Blue Sea is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
And of course, The Mist has one of the most mindfuck endings ever to a horror film. And you know, he kind of has that take charge kind of role or whatever,
Very Captain America.
but at the same time, he's vulnerable and he's like Jason Statham, but he can act.
Yeah, he's got acting chops.
Yeah, and you know, if that doesn't convince you, he needs to be on the list. I mean, he was Harvey fucking Dent in The Dark Knight, so
And he's handsome.
he's handsome.
He's handsome.
But that was my
Number
13.
Number 13. Well, my number 12, I kind of was a little sneaky with it because we're only doing movies. But it's anyway, David Duchovny, as you know him as recently as The Craft Legacy, but he was also in two of the X-File major films, one from 2008 and one from 98. He was also in Evolution from 2001, and as you know him as Mulder from the X-Files from 93 to 2018.
Yep. And, you know, just for everybody knows, The X-Files is my favorite television show of all time. It just happens to be horror, sci-fi, alien, everything you can think of. That's what The X-Files is. It deals with paranormal, it deals with the supernatural, and deals with the alien, deals with fucking monsters, deals
Ghosts,
with
demons,
every fucking
everything.
thing. And it was always my favorite show growing up. And David Duchovny was, I mean, he made, you know, him and Scully together was a huge tag team in the fucking 90s.
Yes, and that's why I had to put him on here because of he's not necessarily that bronze character, but he's smart. He's knowledgeable. He's clever. He's what you kind of like. We want to be. You want to be that slick guy, and that's him. And you could almost put him on here for X-Files alone, but we're not doing television series. But luckily, he's done enough movies for me to put him on there. Not to mention, he was kind of that. No, he was pretty much the same character in Evolution. That smart, intelligent guy, like trying to open your third eye, so to speak. But I enjoy David Duchovny. I think he is highly underrated, unfortunately. But that's my number 12.
Well, my next one is basically what you just said. I put Evan Peters.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, Evan Peters from American Horror Story. Like you said, we try to stick with movies, but I can't dismiss everything that he's done from American Horror Story for 6, 7, 8 straight seasons. It's I can't deny any of that. So,
Not to mention the Dahmer series.
yeah, the Dahmer the Dahmer series got a lot of traction when it first came out, and everybody who saw it liked it, including me. He plays on almost every season of American Horror Story, or at least the ones, when I think back, the ones that I really like, he's on it. Like,
Yeah, he wasn't on last season.
like,
I'm pretty sure.
my favorite was Asylum,
Yeah.
and he's in that. I think, you know, Murder House, he did a good job. I think,
Freak Show.
yeah, I was going to say Freak Show was probably, if I could nail a performance of him and him really being the focal point, it would be Freak Show.
Yeah.
But he's great in all of them, so I had to put him on the list.
I almost put him on there, but I was like, nah, he hadn't been in any movies, but I feel bad for not putting him on there. So I'm glad you put him on there, you cheapskate. Speaking of cheapskate, this next person I've had the pleasure and you've had the pleasure of meeting, Lance Hickerson at number 11.
Sweet.
I mean, Jesus Christ. He was in Exorcism at 60,000 Feet in 2019, Pumpkinhead 4 Blood Feud, Pumpkinhead Ashes to Ashes in 2006, Scream 3s. He was on an episode of The X-Files. Tales of the Crypt Keeper, he was actually on 2 fucking episodes. And you know him from Pumpkinhead 1988, Aliens from 1986, and fucking Terminator from 1984. That alone is fucking awesome.
Yeah, and he played the lead in, I believe it was Piranha 2: The Swamping.
Yeah.
So yeah, and not to mention Near Dark, which is some people's favorite vampire film, and he's always been around. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know who he is, he's one of those guys where you go, oh, I've seen him in a bunch of things, even if I don't know his name.
Right.
But yeah, I love Lance. I didn't put him on the list, but I'm glad you did, so he gets some love. But my next final king is Alex Vincent from Child's Play and Child's Play 2.
I didn't even think about him.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's your number 11?
Yeah, and the later Child's Play films and the Chucky series.
Yeah.
He's played the same character, which is Andy Barclay. In my opinion, Chucky and Child's Play 2 wouldn't have been nearly as effective without him. Because if it would have just been Chucky going against a bunch of adults, not too scary. Chucky going against a 6-year-old kid, kind of fucking scary. You know, you're scared for the kid, you know, because the kid just doesn't have the resources as an older person would have.
Right.
However, all the old people die and he survives. So that tells you everything you have to know. But yeah, you can't make Child's Play or Child's Play 2 without Vincent Price being in that role.
Vincent Price?
Alex Vincent. Damn it!
At number 10, I have this was just my personal preference. I don't know if a lot of people would consider him top 10, but Zach Gallen, and you know him from The Gremlins from 1984. You know him from Waxwork in 1988, Gremlins 2, New Batch 1990, Waxwork 2 1992, Cupid, Infested, Hatchet 3, The Chair. Most recently, Bad Candy, he plays a DJ host with Corey Taylor from Slipknot.
Sweet.
Just an awesome guy. I've had the pleasure of also meeting him. He was as sweet as can be, just a genuinely nice guy. Was interested in me as a fan, wanted to know if I watch Gremlins every year for Christmas. Spoiler alert, I do. It's a tradition. It should be your tradition too. Yeah, just that alone, I think Gremlins and Gremlins 2 is, he's the kind of like underdog nerd that, not a lot of people...
Nobody gives him credit.
Yeah, nobody gives him credit. Yeah, I was going to say a lot of movies, you have the underdog, but in horror movies, you have that underdog character.
Slacker, that the older people would say.
Even though he's not a slacker,
right.
But he gets labeled a slacker for no fucking reason.
Right.
But those two performances alone was awesome. But he showed that he could. He showed his acting chops really in Waxwork 2. He was like kind of a fucking dickhead, so to speak. Kind of.
Yeah, he kind of was.
I mean, honestly, kind of a rich dickhead. But that just shows the diversity of him. But I enjoy his performances. He doesn't really star in a lot of stuff. Hopefully we get a fucking Gremlins 3 soon, crossing fingers, but that's my number 10.
Well, my number 10 is Ethan Hawke. And you know him most recently from The Black Phone, but people know him from The Purge and my personal favorite, Sinister. I think that he was... perfectly cast in the movie Sinister as kind of one of those book writers. Let me move into the murder house so I can write the book better type of deal. And then, goes down the rabbit hole of the supernatural type of stuff. And you know what? Some people don't like the first Purge movie. I think they're insane. I think the first Purge movie is the best of the bunch. I think they get totally fucking diluted and ridiculous as they go on, especially the last one. If you want to get preached at, I'm sure you'll love it. But if you want just good old-fashioned fun, you need to watch the first Purge. It's simple. It's people locked in their house trying to keep these fuckers from
Killing them.
coming in and killing them. And, if that's not, action enough for you, then, beat off to He-Man. I don't know.
You might hear him a little bit further up on my list, but diving into number 9 for me is Patrick Wilson. God, this guy, his resume has just like gone up. Insidious: The Red Door, as most recently, The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It, In the Tall Grass, Annabelle Comes Home, The Conjuring 2, Bone Tomahawk, what was it? Insidious Chapter 2, Conjuring, Insidious itself, Hard Candy. I mean, that right there, holy shit. I mean, that's even enough to put him higher on the list, but with those movies under his belt, I mean, he plays the dad hero character so well that you're constantly rooting for him, and he's just steals the screen.
Yeah, oddly enough, I have him next as well. And everything that you mentioned, The Conjuring, Bone Tomahawk, Insidious, all those movies is exactly why I put him on here. And the thing about him in those movies is he gets to show his acting chops, because not only is he the hero dad that you say, but when he gets possessed, he can turn on the villainous stuff as well. And if they ever make a remake to the movie The Shining, I nominate him to play Jack Torrance.
Ooh, wow. That's a bold statement.
Just because of that, because of what he can do. Like you said, he can play the dad hero, but he can turn on that villainous shit just like that.
Yeah, he does a great job with that.
And that's exactly what I picture a Jack Torrance being, just like the Jack Nicholson character.
I think he could do it.
Even more sympathetic because of how he can come off as a good guy.
Ooh, that would be interesting. I want to see that. Yes, I want him as Jack Torrance right now. The Thunder has convinced me. But moving on to my number 8, he might be in your top 8. I'm not sure, but he's definitely in mine. Unfortunately, haven't had a chance to meet him. It's David Arquette. I mean, he's been in Ghost of Ozark, Scream, Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Eight-Legged Freaks, Riding the Bullet, The Trooper. He was in Bone Tomahawk also. 12-Hour Shift. I mean,
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I said Buffy.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Anyway, but I didn't say one of our favorite comedies, Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I mean, goddamn, we're on track here, because he's my next one as well.
So that's your number 8 or 7?
Whatever.
I'm on number 8. Okay, cool. Anyway,
wait a minute. If you're going first and then I go after you, then it's my number 8 as well.
Okay. David Arquette is the goofy, funny badass, I guess, so to speak. He's kind of like also that underdog, like you don't see him coming.
Yeah, I think that's why people cheer for him so much, especially as Dewey in the Scream films.
Yeah.
That's what really made him, because, I think Wes Craven recognized that as well, because I think eventually, he was, they kill him in every movie, but they all, he always comes back, They finally, offed him off in not the last one, but the one right before it, right?
Yeah, they shouldn't have. What is it, Scream 5?
Screams 5, 6.
We're on
5. 5. The one that was just Scream, that is should have been Scream 5.
Right. Should have been Scream 5, but it was just Scream. They shouldn't have killed him off. They should have killed off somebody else.
Well, maybe he requested it. Maybe he's like, you know what? I've ran my course. I don't want to do this character anymore. Who knows? But we will forever love Dewey, and we love all of his performances. Mostly, he's one of those guys, man. People shit on him. People kind of give him a bad rap, kind of like they do What's his Nicolas Cage?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they should all live over Nicolas
But
Cage.
we're huge fans of